Hello, everyone. Sandra Stovich here, a book strategist, six times best-selling author, publisher, and a co-founder at Dark Quarks Publishing. And welcome here to our weekly accountability 30-day book writing challenge. What I'm going to cover on our today's training is how to write a compelling author biography that captivates the hearts and souls of your readers. What I'll also do is I'll reveal the most common mistakes authors make when writing their author biography. What not to do when writing an author biography, so the do's and don'ts, and also show you how to make your author biography stand out and how to create an emotional connection with your readers without necessarily spending months nurturing your audience. So, this is exactly what we are going to cover on our today's training. Let me just pull out my notes. But before we do, I wanted to give a really big shout out to everyone who has participated in the challenge. So, just wanted to give a shout out to Elisa. Elisa wrote 2,924 words in one day. That's awesome. Then we have, again, on another day, she wrote 1,663 words. Absolutely fantastic. Kelly wrote 1,000 words on Tuesday, another 1,000 words on another day. And Kelly's total word count comes down to 36,237 words. Absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to everyone. If I missed anyone, don't hold it against me. Now back to our training. So, how to write, you may be thinking, okay, I have never written an author biography. What the heck is an author biography in the first place? And a disclaimer, auto autobiography is different from author biography, two words. The best way I can describe it is basically an author biography as a brief introduction about you as the author that forms a necessary part in your book. So I'm sure you have questions. Okay, how to write an author biography? What's a really good word count to work with? I'd say keep it short and sweet, between 200 to 300 words. I'd say at minimum 150 words, regardless whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. So, what constitutes an author biography? Typically, what I like to do is start with an image, which is a 300 by 300 pixels. So you can establish that emotional connection with the reader. Like we like to put the name to the face. So just checking if Janet joined. So you can establish that emotional connection. So I like to put it at the top of the page. You have a look if I can do screenshots today. Can we do screenshots? The screen layout. I have never done the picture layout. The screen layout. Okay, let's have a look if I can do the screen layout. Nope. Didn't seem like it worked. Okay, never mind. So, how to write an author biography. So, what I like to do, what I like to start with, I like to start with the sentence that introduces me. So, if you want to, first of all, you want to write in the third person. So, rule number one is always write in the third person. So, even if it's you yourself writing your author biography, you don't say, I'm a book coach. So, obviously, that's me talking about myself. You say, Sandra Sahovic is a book coach. So it's just easier. The reason, okay, so maybe thinking, okay, why is that? Like, why can I not write an author biography in the first person? You can. But the reason for that is it's just easier to trust a biography that appears to be written by and objective observer. So even if you're technically the person writing your author biography, it comes across, it gives that level of objectivity. It doesn't feel as biased as if you were the one talking about yourself. Rule number two, list provable facts. So you don't want to waste time sharing your dreams. It doesn't mean that you can't share your vision for life. But if you're limited to, let's say, 200 to 300 words, you want to make your author biography count. So, for example, you don't say Jane Doe has always wanted to pursue writing as a career, and unless it's relevant, maybe like if you're uh, a book coach, that may be relevant, but still it's not as relevant because still we are talking about our aspirations, goals, and dreams. And that's not really appropriate here. So, a better way of framing it would be, for example, Jane Doe has provided her services independently and through the online employment forums, Odesk, and Elons, which is a lot more specific because we're listing facts. When you're writing your offer biography focus on facts, it doesn't mean that you can't let your personality shine through. But at least we are talking about tangible facts. We are talking about accomplishments and results. And we are not just talking about wishy-washy concepts. There's nothing wrong if you share your dreams, but only if they're relevant to what you're currently doing. Another good tip is keep the writing short. Keep it short and sweet. As writers, we have a tendency, and I can raise my hand, to get wordy. So the focus here want to describe your best skills. You want to keep the sentences short and sweet, and absolutely make sure that every sentence really needs to be there. 300 words is not a lot, so you really want to make it work for you. So what else to include? I'm just checking if Janet has joined us. Not yet. Let me know who you are. I want you to comment below and let me know, so I can say hi again. So coming back to how to write an author biography. So what to include? I typically start with a punchy, impactful intro sentence. So an example of that would be, just an example I have pulled from one of my previous biographies that we have since updated, is I mentioned that I was the founder of Awaken Inner Goddess, which takes a decidedly different view on how books should be written and published. So I came out. I want you to think in terms of how you do things, like what's really unique about your process, your methodology, your modality, or the way you do things, something that really makes you stand out, that your if you have a business that your competitors don't do. They really believe in competition. So an example of that I have used for one of my biographies is, I basically said Sandra Stahl, which again we write in the third person, is a book coach for women coaches, an international best-selling author, and the founder of um, back then that was Awakener and the Goddess. It's a Dark Works Publishing, which takes a decidedly different view on how business books should be written and published. So again, I give the reader the reason to find out more about me. I basically tell them who I am, what I do. Another way of starting an author biography would be what I like to do, and this is something what I want you to do now. So I want you to comment below and let me know. I like to start with the concept of social, economic, and demographic, even cultural descriptor words or phrases. So, in one of my previous author biographies, what I did is I describe myself. So, I think there's all the different factors and descriptor words that describe who you are and what you do. I'm a middle child. If you're a middle child, comment below and let me know. If you're left-handed, raise your hand. I was actually born left-handed. Another example, um, maybe you're a Black Muslim woman, or maybe you uh, you grew up in a really conservative Catholic family. That's me. If that's you, if that resonates, comment below and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do with that in just a second. Or maybe you were raised by a single mother. Again, that was me. Um, what else? Maybe you are the first generation immigrant. Again, if that's you, comment below. And I also want you to think in terms of other descriptor words. Maybe you are neurodiverse. Maybe you are dyslexic. Maybe you have some hidden disabilities. Maybe you're a cancer warrior. Maybe you are a PTSD survivor. So think in terms of all the different words and phrases, keywords, anything that describes your background, like your religious background, socio-economic, cultural, demographic, um, your ancestry, your lineage. Because when we pick up someone's book, we are really social creatures. We are looking for similarities. We like the feeling that we get when, oh, she's a middle child too. I like her already. Oh, she has four sisters like me. So it's interesting. Want to find out more about her. Can you see where I'm getting there? So this is known as the book Alchemy statement. So what you can also do, and I'll read an example just now from one of like a real life example from one of our clients. So just bear with me. And in the meantime, you comment below and let me know about all the different phrases or words you can use to describe yourself, who you are, what you do. So I just read it out loud. Alison Barbani, Ali to her friends, is your average 41-year-old, blue-eyed, left-handed, Doc Martin wearing, Harry Potter loving, self-confessed telly addict, foodie, and mother of boys. And I can bet that if you ticked off any of the boxes as I was reading that introduction, that you feel instant connection. And the funny story is that actually one of our other clients who contributed one of our other books, she basically said like, oh my fucking god, I'm also a blue-eyed, left-handed Doug Martin wearing Harry Potter loving person. And the connection was instantly there. They have never met another friends on Facebook. So this is a really effective way to create an emotional connection with your readers, to create a sense of familiarity and connection with a complete stranger that wasn't there in the first place. So that's a really useful technique that I really encourage you to use in your introductory sentence. Then Alison then goes on to say that she's originally from North London. So as you can see, I could, give you even more examples of how you can create that level of intimacy and connection with your readers and complete strangers. So it's very effective. And then coming back to what I have shared, give me 2 seconds, I can pull up my notes. So again, you want to keep it short. What to include? You include a punchy, powerful introductory sentence. Even if you don't have a business, you can still create. Mention. You could mention the way you write. Maybe the way you write. Maybe your readers they resonate with a particular genre or writing style. So you can mention that maybe you write erotica, but the way you write erotica is completely different from the way other people write it. And then what I like to do is I like to introduce the industry, field, or authority area. Let me have a sip of water. So an example of that is I basically state my mission, what I do, who I work with, who I don't work with, and then this is also a good time to mention who your readers are, who this book is not intended for. So an example of that, if you have a business, is you can say she's on a mission to help spiritual and unconventional women coaches to get their first book out of their soul and into the world in 90 days. So they can exponentially grow their heart-centered businesses, get fully booked with high-end clients, and embark on the round-the-world never-ending adventure. Second, I combine it with what I really stand for, and there's of my unique energetic blueprint, which is something I'll touch on in just a second. And then I mentioned who I work with, who I don't work with. You can do this the same way, even if you don't have a business. You can mention who your readers are, who your books or previous published work resonates with or doesn't resonate with. So an example of that would be she works with passionate women, out of the box thinkers, visionaries, soul fueled coaches, mentors, and healers who want to expand their souls and bank accounts while making an impact. And I'll get to the funny part now. Let me have a look if you have any comments just now. Um, okay. Checking, do we have any comments? For some reason, I can't see your comments. Okay, let me carry on. um, yes, so now that we have introduced our area of expertise, whatever your area of expertise is, even if you don't currently have a business. And then what I like to do is I like to mention a little bit, like this, like background information that's not necessarily relevant in terms of your business, but super valuable because it helps gives the reader a glimpse into your inner world. So I like to mention. Uh, I'll just use an example. So I mentioned she is a free spirit, psychic, introvert, gypsy at heart, and she loves talking about herself in third person, which is totally me. And again, it's in line with our unique energetic blueprint. So I also want you to think in terms of what makes you you, like what really, in terms of your personality quirks and flaws, character flaws. I want you to comment below and let me know, write them out. Maybe you're really clumsy. We have a sip of water. Maybe you're scatterbrained. um, Maybe you don't take yourself seriously. Uh, so this is your opportunity to mention a little bit about yourself and your inner world. So something that feels like, like you're being vulnerable and create a level of intimacy with our readers. And then I also mentioned my why. And I said most of all, she believes our stories have the power to heal, and her desire is to heal the world one soul, one book at a time. So this is where we mentioned something. This is where you mentioned something really unique about you. So just a quick recap: you start with the punchy, impactful angel sentence. I could mention the book Alchemy statement, which is basically your cultural, social, economic background. Then you introduce your industry, field, or authority area. And step number 3 is to build credibility without overly bragging. And for some of you, you may find it really hard talking about yourself and selling yourself because you're not really used to it, even if you have a business. So the challenge for you is to really honor your accomplishments. And it doesn't mean that you need to do it while bragging. An example of this would be so I mentioned Sandra built 3 businesses by the age of 30. She wrote Leap Afraid, which instantly became a bestseller and also co-authored the international bestseller. So that was, again, I wrote this years ago, and her story was featured. And you can mention the places where your work has been featured, if you've been interviewed by any prominent figures, if you've been featured on, let's say, TED or any well-known magazines. If it's not a well-known magazine, but it's still uh, well established in your own, of your country of origin, I'd mention the reach. So you don't necessarily have to mention the name, but if you mention the reach, let's say the magazine that reaches 5 million people, that's still worth mentioning because that still positions you as the authority uh, in your niche. If you've had your work published, let's say on Thrive Global or Medium, or if you're the you regularly work for, um, the Huffington Post or Entrepreneur or whatever, just mention it because it's really super valuable. And I'm always amazed how many people actually don't honor their own accomplishments. Like when we sit down together, especially with our one-to-one coaching clients, and there's like almost surprise. Oh my god! Like I actually forget about that. I recently worked with a client who's like 5 times international best-selling co-author, and she routinely every single time she forgets about that important aspect of her life. So make a list of all the different accomplishments, and I want you to do it now. Uh, Anything like any radio talks you've been interviewed on, any like public speaking engagements, and I want you to narrow it down to the ones that are relevant for your readers or the work that you do. Um, so this is a great way of doing this. So to include uh, just reading for my notes. No, I have mentioned that already. Yes. So let's come the next step. So what I like to do is I also like to, yeah, to recap again. So the first, we have already added the personal touch. So the personal touch would be I'm left-handed, I'm a free spirit. For some of our clients, they could say that, they're blue-eyed, or they like talk about themselves in the third person. And what I like to do is to finish on a call to action. So like, go check out my offer. Even if you don't have a business, it's still a really good idea to give the reader something that they can uh, take action on, that they can learn more about you, find out more about your offers or services, whatever it is that you offer. So again, in part one, an offer biography, what I like to do is like literally in one or two, three sentences, you explain what you do, who you are, and you don't want to go into much depth here because you can do that later. So you just want to give the reader a general idea of who you are. An example of that is the example I previously mentioned. So I just mentioned like, mention your name, who you are, who you work with, and maybe one or two accomplishments. You can mention the name of your company or business, and then also state what you do uniquely, what really sets you apart. If you're a writer, you don't have a business, just mention in terms of your writing, maybe your writing style. Maybe you talk about really unpopular topics. Maybe you talk about human trafficking or female genital mutilation or whatnot, and you are not afraid to talk about topics that are really taboo, are really unpopular. Part number two, you state who you work with or who do you do not work with. So you could mention, I work with nonfiction aspiring authors. You could say maybe you don't work with fiction writers or children books authors, whatever is true for you. So again, you want to focus on the solution, because especially if it's a nonfiction book, you want to focus on the solution and not the process. One of the biggest mistakes I see coaches and healers and other service-based entrepreneurs do is that they focus on the processes, methodologies, modalities, and whatnot, and they completely forget that the reason the reader picked up a copy of their book in the first place is because they want the solution. They want the answer to their burning problem. So I really want to focus, paint the vision and the solution. So you lead with results. So especially if you offer intangible services such as empowerment, coaching, life coaching, confidence, coaching on confidence, or anything that cannot easily be measured, I'd really encourage you to focus on the end result. So even if you help someone um, with their confidence, at the end of the day, they have enough confidence to ask for a pay raise, and maybe they have enough confidence to walk away from a toxic relationship. So that's what I mean when I ask you to focus on the solution and paint the vision. And part three, you hook, grab, and hold. So again, you want to make sure that your bio includes something that is unique about you. So this is where that unique and energetic blueprint comes into play. You want to give the reader something to be remembered for. Uh, so you want to give your readers a sense of who you are, your personality, your character flaws and quirks, so you can call in your soul clients. So if you are known for your sense of humor, you definitely want your wit to come through in your writing, in your author biography. So the three words that I like to use that describe me is wit, wisdom, and mischief. Kind of mischief is a synonym of wit, but I feel that really describes me. So the way I have put it across in my biography is she is a free spirit, psychic, introvert, gypsy at heart, and she loves talking about herself in third person. So again, I've already established that emotional connection, and I'll give the reader even more uh, reasons to hopefully like me. Let me have a look if we have any comments. I'll just, in the meantime, see if Janet has joined us. No, Janet has not joined us. Okay, I'll keep on going then. Another one is, yeah, so you mentioned your mission statement. You mentioned your why. The question is, why is that? People don't buy the what, they buy your why. That Simon Sinek that actually said that. And the way I weaved my mission statement and my why into my author biography is that most of all, she believes our stories have the power to heal, and her desire is to heal the world one soul, one book at a time. And the last part are the next steps or the work with me page, which basically uh the reader's not wondering, okay, what can I do next? How can I take it to the next level? How can I work with her in a deeper way? So what does your reader need to do to continue working with you or connecting with you? So this is where you introduce a call to action to your free offer. Excuse me, I'll be wrapping up now because I'm recovering from laryngitis, and I feel that's a sign from that I should wrap up. So again, the last part number 4, is you include a clear call to action for the readers, whether that's a free offer, it could be a free resource, free meditation, free hypnosis, maybe a link to book a call with you. Um, Anything that makes logical sense to create that level of continuity that is an extension of your book. Um, so that's everything I wanted to cover with you today. And I'm afraid I can't wait for Janet any longer because my voice is already gone. So if Janet decides to jump on and do another training, then stay in the group and keep an eye out. And bye for now.